how to properly initiate in relationship building along with network building. That's today's podcast. A pretty cool topic that I have for you guys, especially with it being the end of the year. We're going to have a bunch of holidays, and for those of you who don't celebrate holidays, a lot of family get-togethers. So it's a perfect timing for you to learn how to actually build those networks. And I think I have 3 people here with me who are pretty good at it. I'm going to be learning with you guys as well. So you probably won't hear me talk as much because I am terrible at this aspect of business. So anytime you ask Nate, right, he always knows a guy. Vick always has a friend, and Flor always has a client for something, right? And I don't have nobody in my contact list. So I'm gonna be learning with you guys as they explain how this works. So jump right into it. Like, how do you guys usually initiate the relationship building aspect, whether you're at a networking event or just a family gathering in general?
The number one thing that I do is always look for something. I find common ground immediately. So I try to find something that they have that I like, and it could be in reference to a magnitude of things. It could be sports teams. It could be colors that they're wearing. It could be style. I mean, it could be something as embarrassing as vaping. It could be a million different things that you can give some advice or just like draw in with a question. And I think if you find common ground, you're quickly able to establish if they're passionate about it. And that's like my number one tip on how to open dialogue to create a new relationship is to find and establish common ground. What about you guys?
I think finding, to me is always like finding what's interested to them. And at the same time, what do they do? Kind of like, who do they know and who do I know? It's like about them providing value to me and me providing like value to them. And this is not only like client wise. I feel like I'm kind of like the same way with like friendships. I feel like that is what has helped me like throughout the years maintain like, really good friendships. I feel like I'm not just like a taker. Yes, you help me, you provide me with something. I mean, that is something that is like reciprocal.
Mm-hmm. And the same, I look for common ground. I look, I used to do exactly what Vic did, where you try to find common people, and stuff like that. But the older you get, and the more people you meet, the more you start, you start caring about how people see you in business, right? And sometimes there's some people that you don't want to be associated with. So it's kind of like, you look for the common ground. You look for, like, what do you like? What do you do? What are you doing? And just like you just said right now, like how can I help you, and how can you help me? Because see, a lot of people want to help you. They want to be the plug. They want to bring something to the table, especially if they know you're in business, And I let them do that. I'll let them, tell me, hey, where there's a great car wash, where there's a great restaurant, where they have a hookup on a grill, for cooking, and stuff like that. And then in return, they'll ask me questions, and I'll answer those questions for them, And I always try to stay within. It's a little bit tougher for me because, I deal with different, different types of people, right? So, one weekend I'm with friends that we're talking about, drop trucks, and another weekend I'm with friends that we're talking about, a Porsche, that they're going to buy, what leasing terms they should get, etc. So you also have to read the room and be
Definitely.
respectful, And
I don't think that's how you pronounce that, but
what, Porsche?
So back, Nate brought up actually another tactic that I didn't talk about initially. It's so one, establish the common ground, and then two, the other thing, as I'm listening to Nate, is that people love to talk about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So if you can get them to talk about themselves, then they will more than likely tell you everything you need to know to be able to build a relationship through them. And I've always found, that's one of my, I feel like, hidden talents, or My strengths is getting people to talk about themselves and kind of open up about kind of where they are either in life or in business or while they're even at the event that we're at. So you do that one by common ground. Two, getting them to talk about themselves. Some of the questions that I ask is, how did you get started in a business? What did you do? Just trigger questions that would encourage them to open up about kind of what they do. And that's something that Nate brought up right now, that I didn't mention. The other thing and the thing that's been most successful for me in the last couple of years has been establishing kind of who is with who. If we have mutual friends or we have mutual contacts, and more than likely that is a reference or referral in itself. And as Nate also mentioned, the downside of that, the older that you get, when you're young, and I can, attest this to when you're in school, everyone's friends. The older you get, people like fight and they break up and there's a clear line in the sand. I've always been really good at maintaining the middle ground, and mainly because I'm true and authentic to who I am, and you get me in both aspects. So people either, and I always say people love me or they hate me, but 9 times out of 10, I people like me, and it's because I've always just stood firm on what I'm about. You know what you get with me. You know that I'm loud. You know that I laugh. You know that I'm obnoxious, and that we're gonna have a good time, right? And more importantly, at the end of the day, we're gonna make some money. And those are some values that I've always had. And people know that when they talk to me, we make money. That when we talk to us, it's business. And ultimately, we're always trying to push ourselves forward. And that's something that I've always tried to inculcate. We're always trying to push forward. We're always trying to make money. We're always trying to advance. And who doesn't like that? Who doesn't want those people around them? Mm-hmm. So I've always felt that's been the value that I've brought to the table, is that I can connect you with people so we can kind of move forward. So those are the 3 tips that I would say is find the common ground, right? Get them to talk about themselves and what they love and what they like. And then 3, establish if you have mutual connections. And, I'm forgetting what that is, but it's like not a referral, but like you're giving, kind of co-signing, like if somebody knows you.
Introduce them to somebody that could help them.
Yeah. So those are one of the top 3 things that I do in order to build these relationships or even initiate these relationships.
Endorsing.
Yeah, endorsing. There you go. That's
I feel like also what has helped for me is that, being there for that other people, whatever is a friend, a client, coworker, without, thinking on what you're going to get, having a return from them. It's really important on, having or building a relationship. Of course, you know that at the end of the day, that person is going to be there, to kind of have, I guess, that or get that favor back. Mm-hmm. But, you never know when you're going to get that back. I feel like that's also...
Yeah, I everything I do is never for an immediate return, ever. Because sometimes you don't get a return. You just give. And that in itself sometimes is the return if they succeed at something that you gave them. But I'm gonna give, whenever I was reading this, I couldn't stop but think about and I'm gonna give you Nate's famous unsolicited advice, right? For realtors, right? Holidays are coming up. You're gonna hang out with your family, your friends. What is the first thing that's gonna come out of their mouth whenever they see you?
How's the market? And laugh.
How's the market? How's your little business doing? What's going on? You're not making that easy money no more, right? And I'm just gonna tell you, don't fall into it. Don't entertain it. All they were trying to do, and it's funny because when I hang around with my friends and family, always comes up, right? They're trying to get my advice. Hey, what do you think about this? Hey, I was thinking about that. Hey, I was thinking about getting into real estate. Hey, I was thinking about buying this property, right? And you're there to hang out. You're there to have fun. You're not there to really give give them advice on real estate. You're just there to hang out. And you politely tell them, oh man, you know what? It's great. You know what? Why don't you come see me? You should come see me next week. Let's eat next week. Let's do this next week. Come to my office. Let's meet downtown. Let's whatever. Because you don't want to just give out blanket advice at a party, like you're a party favor, Right. And the thing is that too is a lot of times they really don't care. They're just trying to reinforce their feelings about something. Hey, right, I should buy 1 acre down the street. Yeah, you should buy it. Right, I should do this. Right, I should do that. And so I don't like talking about it. I don't like reinforcing it. But like I said, these holidays, everybody that has been seeing you on Instagram succeeding, is going to want to see you fail. And because you got to remember, while you're on Instagram all day, you know, doing videos, and you're out here in this podcast, they're working, and they're in their 9 to 5, and you know they're doing the daily grind, and so they want you to fail, you know.
100%.
Yeah, and one of the main things is definitely going to these events that you're going to get invited to or you'll know about. And one of the main things, like for me, right, I'm really not a person who's a social person. But what I do is I like to get there on time, be there about 2 or 3 hours before the party actually starts. So you get to meet people, you get to hang out. And even if you don't have somebody, like I am pretty, I don't want to say it's not blessed, but I'm lucky that I have family members who are like, oh, this is my cousin, the realtor, you know, and they introduce me to everybody. I don't have to do the introducing, right?
Hashtag
they bring me
blessed.
along, they introduce me to everybody. And then that gets a conversation going and people want to ask me questions. The first thing that I do is something that I learned from Ryan's program is the 2 C's. It's compliment and connect. So give them a compliment on something that you see. Even if they're talking to you about real estate, I automatically shut that down. I don't answer questions about real estate when I'm at a gathering. I shut it down by complimenting them on something that I see, whether usually the parties that I go to, big chains, nice trucks, usually like the easiest thing to compliment them about is they're something they're interested in, right? So I compliment them about that. Then I find something to connect to them. And then later on, I'll go ahead and entertain the conversation. But even then, I won't have like a full-blown conversation on how Nate says, right? And I end up leaving early. So what that does for me is they don't get to get their full answer out of me. And I follow them on Instagram, and then I'll follow back up later once I'm out of the party. So whenever I go to these gatherings, I go there, I get there early, and I leave early. And it's for a purpose. 9 times out of 10, I don't want to be there. And the funny thing is that my family members know that because they know how I am, right? They know me. So it's okay. Whenever I do show up, they're like, oh, Jovani's here. You know, everybody's excited because I rarely make an appearance. So whenever I do make an appearance, they're happy that I'm there. But I leave early, and that's something that I learned. It's compliment and connect. I even do that just randomly out here. Find something that you want to compliment somebody on. People love that.
But the key is to leave there late. I mean,
Yeah.
Early.
She said the key to success is to shut it down.
Shut it down.
No, well, at least not for me, because if I leave there
Look,
late, I'm
from
partaking.
this divider this way,
I'm partaking.
okay.
So
If I leave late, I'm partaking, and there's nothing getting done.
he felt to say that he's asked to leave early before the sun goes down, because
That is not true.
He turns into a pumpkin at night. So the thing is this.
Dr. Heckle comes out.
So
Jackal, was it?
Jekyll
I was
and
like, who
Hyde.
is that?
Dr. Jekyll and Hyde. So the thing is this, you know, like what he was saying is, you know, I do that a lot too. I get to the party late. That's why I'm always well dressed, because I'm always late and everybody's gonna see me come in late. Okay, and I always leave early before everybody gets drunk, because when people start getting drunk and tipsy, then the real people start coming out and they start throwing them shots and you know, saying those crazy things, you know. And so you know,
You really don't like people getting drunk, huh?
I don't. I really don't. I people getting drunk just really freaking bothers me. And the thing about it is this. You wouldn't think by my company, right? But
so you're looking at the TV bill.
So why are you looking at?
I'm not looking at anybody. The thing is this, okay? So when we got into this business, right, into real estate, you know, it was something new and we were excited and we did brag, right? But now it's not time for bragging anymore. I mean, we got it. Yeah. It's there. You know, going to family members, you know, going to friends, you know, and bragging about what you have is just not. It's counterproductive, and it will lose you clients. It will lose you referral business. It will lose all that for you. People will lose respect for you and credibility. You know, I try to, you know, not speak about anything that I have. You know, and you know, and that's the way it should be, in my opinion. You know, you should be humble about it.
And an important thing, right, because on the opposite end, you have realtors who are not like me and actually partake and like to hang out and like to meet different people, and they end up getting used. And so my thing is, where do you draw the line between being used and being useful to your network? And how do you know when you're being used versus when you're actually being useful and you want to help somebody out? So what does that look like? I personally don't ever get the use side because I don't give enough people the time of day to get used.
Yeah.
You know, I just try to be useful by giving out little tidbits here and there.
There's a Spanish saying, and if Nate knows the English one, he can repeat it right after. It's "Yo no doy paso sin huarache," and I think it was meant to be.
What he means by that is he wears slides with socks.
Yes.
Wait, hold on, say it again.
No doy paso sin huarache. So I'm not
So
going
I
to give
don't
anything
walk
without getting anything in return.
Yeah.
And you know, I think in Spanish culture in general, it's taught that it's like, I don't know, that you're being a little too much, or that you shouldn't be that way, or you shouldn't. But for me, and coming from where we came from, I've always felt that I always had to take care of myself, and I've always felt that I had to take care of the people around me. I just felt that I needed to take care. Obviously, some of the people around me are Nate, my mother, things, and Nate's told me my whole life, bro, we don't need you to take care of us. like we could take care of our own. Like, just go live your life. You're okay. But something inside of me has always required me to feel, and I've always taken care of everyone around us. I'm willing to do that. And that's the mentality I've grown up with. So for me to establish those relationships on being useful, right, without getting used, is that I always had a clear goal in mind. And that goal is always the income. It's always money, right? And obviously I'm willing to help. Obviously I'm willing to give advice. Obviously I'm willing to listen to you. I'm willing to do all those things naturally because that's what comes natural to me. What doesn't come natural to me, surprisingly, and what's one of the hardest things that I dealt with in real estate, was charging people for money, or like making money in real estate. It was hard for me. I think this is one of the first things that I can actually remember. I called Nate and I told him in my sales career, I vividly remember I was telling Nate, I was like, bro, these people don't have money. How do I get their earnest money deposit so I can sell the house? Nate was like, bro, they wouldn't be looking at houses if they didn't have no money. And I was like, but we didn't have money. We're doing like pendejada. Like, we're doing things that, like, he was like, yeah, but we weren't going looking at houses, bro. Like, those people have money. And I was like, okay. So then that was a mindset shift for me. I would see people that looked like me that seemed to be struggling like we were struggling. And I felt that they didn't have money. So I was scared to ask them to make that deposit. I was scared to get money from them. I was scared to do these things. And I wouldn't even say scared. I didn't know how to bring it up. So very early on in my career, I think one of my biggest like personal like struggles was one of the things that helped me become a great closer in real estate. Was my personal struggle was that I didn't know how to get money, and I didn't want to get the money, right? Because I wanted to do this because I loved it. I just talked to Nicole the other day, and I told her I love the game. I love the hustle. I do it because I like it, right? And I would do this without the money. Now, unfortunately, because I work at Lionsgate Realty, I got to charge. But
I'm not allowed to do it for free.
But I would do this anyway, right? And I had to learn how to charge. So very early in my career, I had to establish ground rules on what I was willing to do. I'm willing to have conversations. I'm willing to give advice. I'm willing to be that person that people reach out to. But what I'm not willing to do is get used.
Yeah.
And where that gauge is wherever I set it. If I feel that you're taking advantage of me, I'll stop it today. And if I feel that, you know, you string me along, we've had clients. I think I closed the client. I'm not gonna say his name out. I should, but I had a client that I was showing houses for 5 years. We're really close friends, and it's just like, but I'm willing to do that. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I looked forward to it. There's no problems. But you know, at some point, we got to put our foot down and be like, all right, bro, what are we doing?
And Vick was struggling. Getting $500 earnest money checks, and money orders. You know, and so you know, one thing that you know, whenever people are always feeling bad, right? They're always like, especially like you know, we were raised in the barrio, you know, or in the neighborhoods, you know, and so you get people that are Spanish speakers and they have working class clients, and they feel bad for them because they see their uncle, their grandpa, their dad, they see struggling people, right? And so what I tell these people, I challenge them. I say, I challenge you to go on a weekend, okay, to Maitos, all right? I challenge you to go to Vida Mariscos. I challenge you to go to, what's that called, the club down there on 59, Escapade, okay? I challenge you to go to all these places that are filled with Hispanic people, okay? And all you will see is people having a good time pulling big fat wads of 100s. These are the same guys that are working construction, same guys that are working, at regular jobs during the day, building these houses, right? They will pull out these fat wads of cash and for everybody. and blow it. So when I sit down and I show them a house and I see their family, I don't feel bad for the guy that's working, that has his sunglasses, painted on his face from the sun burning him. I see his kids, and I say, hey, go ahead and give me that 10 grand so we can put it all down as earnest money, because I don't want you wasting it. I don't feel bad because I'm helping them buy a house. Or I was, sorry, not anymore.
I can relate a lot with what
Where were those
Vick.
places? Because that sounded like a fun time.
You should go there.
Not allowed.
That's not
Somebody don't play. Don't
Don't
play.
act like you ain't been there,
I'll
bro.
run into you.
I feel like I can really relate to what Vick just said. Whenever I started in real estate, I love to help, and I go, I think, completely out of my way to help anybody, like any one of my clients, with anything in the transaction, and I really feel or have that empathy for the people that I think needs the most help. And I had this conversation too with Nate, and he was like, I mean, you have to draw that line. And even at that, I mean, if I see somebody that is struggling, I still feel bad. I mean, it's just something that it's, I guess, like innate, and you can really change. But I do see the need of me like stopping that. Why? Because at the end of the day, if as an agent you don't draw that line, you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
One of the best ways for you to be useful and not get used to your group or your sphere, whatever it may be, your network, is to be an expert in one field, right? So whether that be resale, selling houses, or perfect example, people always ask me, Jovani, what's a new restaurant down here in Houston, or what's a new coffee shop? Because I'm always out here in this area. So that sparks a conversation, and then a few messages later, we're talking about real estate because, again, you're a realtor. They're always going to ask you about real estate. But the perfect way for them to reach out to you without them feeling like they have to ask you about real estate is for you to be an expert in one thing. What do you do on a daily basis that they see you actually partaking in? So sometimes that might be sports for you. You might be really big into like a soccer league or something, and they want to know what's going on. They want to see where you're watching the game at or whatever it may be. Again, for me, it's always restaurants and coffee shops and beer gardens, because that's what I partake in all the time, and that's what they see me doing. And the way for you not to get used is, of course, you got to set your boundaries. You can't do all the work for them. You have to, if they want to work with you, they're going to work with you under your guidelines because you are the expert. So you have to guide them, not the other way around. If they're like, oh no, well, I want to go see this today. Oh, well, we haven't even talked about, what's the process of buying. Oh, no, but I just want to come see it first. Well, don't feel obligated like, oh, this is the only client that I have. I'm going to go over there and show it. No, they have to do whatever your broker is telling you to do. Your broker is telling you to do a buyer consultation first, a face-to-face at the bare minimum, and get them approved, then that's what you should be doing. Become a professional and set those boundaries for yourself. Because once you let it slide one time, everybody else is going to find out, and then everybody's going to treat you like that. And that it just snowballs.
And I love this whole thing that you have to get these buyer's reps signed now, because one of my I've lost so much business, right? So much business because I will not tell them what they want to hear. I don't care what they say. They come here, they sit in front of me, and I'm going to tell them the truth. Exactly the way things are going to go down. And a lot of people don't like it. And they leave my office, and they'll go find that one real estate agent that will do whatever they tell them to do. And you know what? They love that real estate agent. It doesn't matter if they got a bad deal. It doesn't matter if they bought land that they can't build a house on. None of that matters. Because they did it their way. And that's all they wanted. That's what they wanted to do. And so now with these new buyer's reps, I love it. Simon buyer's rep, then we'll talk. Because I'm going to tell you the honest truth about how this is going to go down. And if you don't like it, you still have to buy with me.
Very important little tidbit before we move on to the next part. When Nate said yes, Nate can say that. Sign the buyer's rep, then we'll talk. don't try to do that if you're
don't try to do
2
that.
months into the game. Definitely don't try to do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
There's a lot of rapport that happens before
You're gonna quit
can
before
say
you
that.
start.
Yeah, don't do that.
All my people are 3-4 time buyers. They come to me. They already know.
They know what's going
They
on.
can get
They've gotten burned by other people, and that's why they
Yes.
can't.
Exactly.
Yes, and when you come back, I'm charging you triple because I got to fix your problem.
Now that you have been useful to your pipeline and they've gotten everything out of you that you could give them, as much as you could help them, and it just time passes, how do you continue to nurture a relationship without having to go to every single birthday party, every single Christmas party? How do you continue to nurture a relationship with somebody? Well, what does that look like for you guys?
So for me, I was taught, and now I'm blamed for. So I'm going to take credit for it, I guess. I've always said that I have friends in all parts of Houston. I've sold all over Houston, and I was taught by my mentor that I should pop up unannounced all the time, and people are uncomfortable and they're upset. But at the end of the day, we have a good time and we laugh, and they remember why they like me, and we have a great time. And so in my career, I've always done that. I've always kept relationships. I don't wait for the holidays. I don't wait for the birthdays. I don't wait for the special moments. What I wait for is whatever reminded me of you. And if that's the Dallas Cowboys getting their ass whooped by the Detroit Lions, I'm going to text you and laugh about it with you. You know, whatever it is. If I think of you, I text you, and I'm proactive. I say we talk all the time about reading books and putting them down because they're not, you know, guiding my mind where I want him to go. Mm-hmm. And I think this is I wish I could remember the book, but it was literally like how to do everything. It's that your year in 6 months or something, where it's like if you're thinking about it, do it now, and that's how you're more productive. And that's what I do with relationships. If I think of you, I message you.
Yeah.
And even if it's an inappropriate time, or even if I probably shit or I could wait till the next, I don't put it off. If I think of you, I text you. And that's how it goes. The moment I think of you, more times than likely, they're thinking about me, and they're, I was just thinking about texting you back, or I was just in the conversation rolls. So that's my advice: is if you're thinking about them, text them. If you're messaging, if you're close to them, stop by. It doesn't hurt. You build those relationships that way. Now, that those are for my past clients. Now, for my businesses, I constantly support their businesses.
Oh yeah,
I'm constantly there. I'm their biggest cheerleader. I'm their biggest fan. I'm sharing their posts. I'm liking their stuff, and I want to be a part of their community because I'm happy that they're working.
we're not asking for the hookup.
No,
We're tipping. We're doing all of that because it's their new business, and we're trying to help them out. We never try to. I've actually gotten into it with a good friend of mine, and he's like, no, we're gonna pay for this because it's your business. You just started. We want to support you. We want it to last. I want you to be here. I want to get my freebies later.
well, we did.
Right now, we want to build this.
We did that at my uncle's liquor store in Mexico.
Yeah.
I mean, we buy liquor for when we go. We had a lot of family over, and we went to go buy some drinks. And I told him, hey, let's go buy from my uncle's. We literally drove an hour and a half to go to my uncle's liquor store, and we bought out all his top shelf stuff.
Mm-hmm. He was upset. He was trying to give us stuff. We're like, no.
I was like, bro, we're gonna buy it at the hotel. Might as well buy it from you.
Yeah, and he was like, no. Like, he was just giving us boxes of liquor. We're like, no, here we're paying for it. But it's just what Vic said. If they're on your mind all year, you don't have to worry about holidays and special days and any of that stuff. But I would tell you this: when I started in this business, because my market when I started was a lot of Hispanic people, and they would always ask me to help them move. Okay. Strangest thing. Well, I mean, I would do such a good job of building rapport and just hanging with them, talking to them, and like people would be like, oh man, you should come over. Help us move. We're gonna drink beers. We're gonna barbecue and yada yada. And I'm like, yeah, bro. I got into this because I don't do manual labor. I don't hang out outside, right? And so it just kind of got to the point where I had to start closing people, and this is a legit a problem at this time. Everybody was literally, I guess because I was young or whatever, they felt like, oh man, he's a tall guy, he's a strong guy, he probably help. Yeah.
What do you call him? El vaquero mamá.
But no. So one day some guy, actually this was a family member, was like, hey, you're gonna come help, whatever. And I bro, let me tell you something real quick. I said last year, I sold 120 homes, right?
And I broke my
I said,
back.
no. I said, imagine if I would have helped every single body move, how my back or how I mess up, how I would hurt myself. Oh, you know what? You have a point. You know, like whatever, right? And I was I didn't sell 100 homes. I think I sold like 50, and so I just started using that line with everybody. I said, bro, I've been in this business so long. Do you really think I would even have a back right now if I helped everybody? I would love to help everybody, but you know what? I'd rather give you this bottle for your company whenever you have your.
He said, "Here's this bottle for the pain you're gonna experience."
Yeah. So no, that you just gotta finesse it. You gotta just talk to them and touch base with people. Call, like you said, call them out of the blue. Pop in on them if you're in the neighborhood. Take them something. You'd be surprised how many times that's nobody's doing that.
Yeah,
nobody's doing that. So you're different already.
I think the easiest way for me is to just give him a call. Like whenever I'm driving, I drive a lot all the time. So I just give him a call like all the time. Like the other day, I called one of my clients that saw their house in Beaumont, and I had like an hour-long drive, and we were on the phone literally for an hour, like him telling me like everything about the remodelation of the house. So it takes, I feel like, a lot for you to listen to the things that they have to say and just kind of hear them out. I feel like that really helps, and creating also that like lasting relationship.
You should invest in a helicopter.
I need to.
Like you buy a piece of land here and leave a car there and just come back.
I saw that Uber. You can order a helicopter on the Uber.
That'd
somewhere,
be awesome.
So
I need to do that.
Just take it back.
Yeah, and like nowadays, especially that we're living this technology world, right? It's super easy for you to keep up with people online. They'll post stuff themselves, and you just got to interact with it. To just send them a message or something like that. Every now and again, I've been testing out like sending a video in a text message, which has been working pretty good. Nobody else gets videos like that because nobody's doing that for sure. It's a little out of the box, right? Unorthodox. But especially whenever you find something that reminds you of them, like how Vick was saying, like the game, or you walk past something that they were looking at, or a car that they were talking about. You send them a video of it in text message, 100% they're going to respond to it. They'll check it out for sure.
Do you show your face? Like, that would be kind of cringe.
What kind of videos are you sending?
It depends.
Can you show it to the camera?
I hope you're not drunk while you're sending these videos,
I don't
bro.
drink no more. I don't drink no more. So, every now and again, it depends. Like, especially like calling somebody on FaceTime. I've gotten into the habit of just FaceTiming people right away.
Oh, yeah, that's fun.
And that's awesome. People get surprised. A lot of people don't get FaceTime.
Loncherita.
And the good thing
Shout
is
out to my Gen Zs out there, Jules.
that a lot of times too is that whenever you're opening up like the FaceTime call, they don't have to FaceTime themselves, right? So they can have their side off, but they still get to see you, and which is pretty cool because you build that connection like that. And now the iPhones let you leave a FaceTime message,
Yeah.
which is pretty tight, right?
Oh, I like that. I'm going to start doing that.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. They get to see your face again. It throws them off because it's not going to get stuck in all of their messages, right? Because it's different, especially if you send a video or even a picture of something. It won't get lost in the message. More than likely, they're not giving them videos or pictures from other people, right? Just be careful with what you're sending. Don't get too crazy with it, right? I know some of you realtors drink a little too much.
I think for just to, before you go on to the next one, on that nurturing age kind of response there, for new agents, definitely use your company CRM. If there was one thing that I could have implemented when I started my career at the very inception, I would utilize the CRM so much better. This is from years of experience, 14 years into this business. If I would have implemented the CRM the way everybody advised me to over and over and over, it would have helped a ton. Just not having to remember the mental load of not having to remember everybody and just having some automated system do that for you, which we do have here at Lionsgate Realty. And I think you guys really, really should utilize it. It is extremely important. I can't, now that I use it, I wish I would have used it sooner. That's all I can say on that.
So what does it look like using a CRM?
A CRM is a client relationship manager, so you get to input things that were important. What's funny about me not using a CRM, it's not that I don't use CRMs, is that I am surprisingly not that technical. I do not like the whole social media, online, Excel, thing. I just never did. But if I take my career back 15 years, 14 years ago, if you would look at my catalog of client cards, you would flip them on the back, and I had full detailed notes what these people were wearing, what they liked, what their kids' names, where they lived, where they're from, how they spoke. Like, I would have full detailed notes on my conversations with them, and I would write that down on these guest cards. And at any given time, if I was slow on sales or I didn't have anything going on, I would pull out my stack of guest cards and I would call, and I would run into a sale. And I think I used to say all the time that I was like, if I ever needed money and I was ever in a pinch, I can pull my guest cards out and I could squeeze a sale out of clients that I hadn't sold to, because I was so well informed on the type of client I had and what they were looking for. And if I had a good opportunity at the right time, I would be able to connect those people. So I used to do this in a paper format. I never transitioned it into the online format, which I'm doing now, which is a CRM. We had to go build out our own system, which, I mean, I don't know. I don't think I've ever said it in front of Nate, but I'll say it now. It's like, this is our big boy purchase. It is the most expensive thing we've ever bought. And we built this system out for us so we can implement it the way we know how to do business. And that's been really, really important. It's going to be pivotal to how you maneuver in business. It's going to be super important, and it's going to give you an opportunity to do notes, an opportunity to write important events, and an opportunity for you to reach out the way you're supposed to. It even has automation for you to do it on its own. So there's a lot of different tools. There's a lot of different things you can do. We selected one that we really like. I really, really advise you guys, if you're starting in your career, for you guys to use your CRM. It's super important.
I like it. All right, guys, and we'll leave you with that. You have any closing thoughts? Anything else? If not, go ahead and exit and let the people know where they can find you.
I had closing thoughts.
Where are they?
I have a story.
Oh, go ahead.
I have a story.
I love stories.
All right. These are for my boys, right? And this is a special story to me because it was important, because Nate's been telling me this for years. and it didn't click. It really just didn't click until I watched it happen in front of my face. And Nate's told me for years, you're only as good as your last quarter. You're only as good as your last month. I don't give a shit what you did last year. What are you doing this year? Every time, you're never good enough, right? Because you're competing against yourself, and there's no end to this game. You got to keep going. You got to keep pushing. It's always been that way. So these are the conversations that we have at Lionsgate Realty, right? Really fire, really exciting. And we're talking about this, and Nate's like, you got to keep going. Who gives a shit what you did? You got to keep pushing. You got to double it up. You got to keep going, right? So, does anybody know what this is?
Micro Machine?
No, it's a car from Lightning McQueen.
Oh, from Cars.
Cars 3. Do you know what this is? Do you know what this guy's name is? His name is Jackson Storm. All right? This is the Fabulous Hudson, which is the old guy that trained Lightning McQueen. I wish I had Lightning McQueen here. But I watched Cars.
That's a Burt Reynolds voice, right?
Yeah. I watched Cars when I was a kid, right? And I think your kids were like in that age. Really more for them, but I was still a child, so I watched it too. And I watched Cars. And I was a Lightning McQueen fan. And so were my kids, right? You know how fast them boys switched up? they just watched Cars 3, and this dude beat the little red car. And now they're Jackson Storm fans. They don't care about all the memories I have of Lightning McQueen. They don't care about all the races Lightning McQueen won. They saw him beat Lightning McQueen one time, and now they're big Jackson Storm fans. So I'm going to leave you with that message. You're only as good as your last month. You're only as good as your last race. Who gives a crap what you've done before? Somebody's out there is winning. There's always a younger, faster, better, stronger person coming for you. So you got to get ready, because Jackson Storm's going to take you out.
I like that.
So there you go.
All right.
I
Go
don't,
ahead.
I
You
don't
got a
have
story,
closing
Flor?
thoughts.
You don't have a story?
I
No?
don't.
Shit, beat that one, Flor.
I'm beating last quarter. I'm just-
She said, I'll beat Jackson Storm today.
You can find me on all my social media as Flor Velasquez Realtor. Bye.
Yeah.
Lionsgate Realty. I'm the president here at Lionsgate Realty. You can find me at Real Presidente on Instagram.
Right. I'm Nate Valderas. I'm the master broker for Lionsgate Realty. You can find me at Better Call Nate on all my social media outlets.
I'm Jovani Frank. You can find me on Instagram as Jovani_Frank. And until next time.
Claps.